Carrying small amounts of marijuana in one nearby town will no longer land you in jail. On Capitol Hill, the public phase of the impeachment inquiry begins. And in sports, the Bobcats wrap up their season in Athens. We have highlights from their last home game of 2019. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening and welcome to Newswatch, your source for all news impacting southeastern Ohio. I'm Taylor Bruck. Thank you for joining us. The city of Nelsonville joins 17 other Ohio cities that have now decriminalized marijuana possession. WOUB reporter Anna Hoffman has more on the details of the ordinance.
Nelsonville is one of the latest cities to join the movement to decriminalize certain amounts of marijuana possession. Voters passed the ordinance last week 430 to 321, but the changes does not mean that marijuana is legal in those 18 Ohio cities. What the law does is reduce the fine or penalty if you are caught in possession of marijuana. A person is allowed to possess up to 200 grams of marijuana and it would not be considered a crime. Under these decriminalization acts, a person would be subjected to a $0 fine. Now, the Nelsonville ordinance was supported by the Grassroots Ohioans. This is the same organization that backed Athens' taco movement back in 2017. The cannabis ordinance will take full effect in Nelsonville in January 2020. Reporting live in the studio, I'm Anna Hoffman. Back to you, Taylor.
Thank you, Anna. 25 nurses from Mount Carmel and Columbus have been charged with murder and face administrative hearings. They are accused of giving excessive painkillers to patients who died and not questioning the medication ordered by a doctor. Their license remained active, yet Mount Carmel Health System said it fired some of the nurses involved. They face possible discipline from the Ohio Board of Nursing. The first hearing is scheduled in February and the last in March 2021. Two 16-year-olds have been indicted by a Hocking County grand jury in the death of Victoria Schaefer. Their charges include murder, involuntary manslaughter, and felonious assault. Although they are minors, WBNS reports that both cases have been bound over to adult court after a judge found probable cause in the case. Schaefer was killed on Labor Day by a log that was thrown or pushed off a cliff above Old Man's Cave. Now let's take a first look at our regional weather.
Hi everybody, I'm forecaster Nicholas Snyder. Well, it was another chilly and breezy day today all across the area. 27 right now in Athens. Pressure is at 30.31 inches and rising as an area of low pressure off to our north is moving out of the area. Humidity is 56% and the winds are light, mainly out of the north. Across the area, we're seeing more of the same 20s and 30s all around. 27 in Athens, 27 in New Lexington, 27 up in Columbus, 28 in Newark, all under mainly clear skies, but it will cloud up tonight as again that low pressure is moving out of the viewing area. Cold begins to retreat tomorrow for the highlights over the next couple of days. Warmer weather is ahead, but with that warmer weather comes rain chances. We'll talk all about that coming up in my full forecast in the next couple of minutes. But Taylor, it looks like that cold weather is finally leaving the area over the next couple of days and weeks.
Nicholas, I think a lot of people can agree that's probably not a bad thing.
Definitely.
Thank you, Nicholas. Franklin County Commissioners approved a $350,000 contract Tuesday to purchase kits to help in times of mass shootings or other violent attacks. Franklin County Emergency Management and Homeland Security plan on purchasing 900 to 1,000 trauma bags to distribute to emergency responders in 15 central Ohio counties. Each trauma bag will contain 6 individual kits that will contain material to stop bleeding and mass casualties. A recanvass for Kentucky governor will take place this Thursday. This after Republican Governor Matt Bevin asked for the vote count to be checked again after losing the general election on November 5th by a little more than 5,000 votes. This as Democratic Andy Beshear, the state's attorney general, continues to move toward his transition into governor's office. Beshear's revealed a website on Tuesday for this transition. He also named Deputy Attorney General J. Michael Brown to lead his transition team. Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin still in the headlines, but on a different topic. His administration has been ordered to release records about Brady Industries, which is partly owned by the state and plans on building an aluminum mill in the state. Franklin County Circuit said in a ruling Tuesday that he reviewed documents that were submitted by the Cabinet for Economic Development and found 4 within the scope of the Open Records Act and should be released. Moving over to West Virginia, where 4 people have been arrested for lying on applications to become licensed electricians. The arrest took place Tuesday when 4 men showed up to take the licensing exam. The applications raised concern about identity theft and fraudulent credentials. The men are charged with felony forgery of a public record and appeared in court on Tuesday. A statement by the state fire marshal says the names provided by the men at the initial court appearance are still being verified. The West Virginia's Board of Education is set to discuss charter schools this week. The board will meet on Wednesday and Thursday in Charleston. A board policy proposal on charter schools is on Thursday's agenda. The board's agenda says it's recommended that the policy be placed on public comment for 30 days. Legislation signed by Governor Jim Justice authorizes a staggered implementation of charter schools, limiting the state to 3 charters until 2023, then letting 3 more go up every 3 years after that. Public impeachment inquiry hearings have come to a close. What testimonies have revealed and how Republicans are defending themselves? Plus, a state of emergency is declared in Venice, with 1 dead and nearly half the city flooded. Hear how city officials are responding. Those stories just after the break.
On Life from Above. Looking down from space, satellite cameras capture the dramatic ways our planet is changing, revealing the powerful forces that influence our world. From the seasonal cycles that come and go, to the way humans are impacting the Earth. Discover the incredible ways our planet changes, as you've never seen them before.
Sama. Sama, I made this film for you. Sama, I need you to understand what we are fighting for.
Our planet is filled with creatures both great and small. But it's often the Goliaths that capture our attention. Being the biggest beast ever, or simply the biggest of your kind, has its advantages. But it also comes with challenges. Take a closer look at how these oversized animals overcome some of life's big problems.
Artist, inventor, enigma, Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonardo embraced mystery.
Is science the key to his Mona Lisa?
This is the beating pulse underneath their skin.
There was a reason for every decision in every life.
He doesn't make a distinction between the arts and sciences.
Decoding Da Vinci on Nova.
It's a historic day on Capitol Hill. For the first time in 2 decades, an impeachment inquiry into a president is documented by public hearings. Today, 2 career diplomats gave televised testimony into President Trump's dealings with Ukraine. Mary Maloney is in Washington with the highlights.
Dramatic testimony about alleged corruption moved the impeachment inquiry into President Trump beyond the shadows of closed-door hearings and into the public eye.
I discovered a weird combination of encouraging, confusing, and ultimately alarming circumstances.
Bill Taylor, the top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine, told Congress President Trump leveraged key aid and a White House visit for Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden and his son.
I think it's crazy to withhold security assistance for help with a political campaign.
After President Trump and the president of Ukraine spoke in July, Taylor said President Trump had a conversation with the U.S. ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland. Taylor testified one of his aides asked Sondland what the president thought of Ukraine.
Ambassador Sondland responded that President Trump cares more about the investigations of Biden.
Democrats want to prove President Trump abused the power of his office.
The questions presented by this impeachment inquiry are whether President Trump sought to exploit that ally's vulnerability and invite Ukraine's interference in our elections.
Republicans paint the allegations as hearsay, while the president blames Democrats for playing politics.
I'm too busy to watch it. It's a witch hunt. It's a hoax.
Public hearings in the impeachment inquiry will continue into next week. Democrats want to wrap up proceedings before the 2020 election, and perhaps as soon as the end of the year. In Washington, I'm Mary Maloney.
As the story continues to develop, we'll update you with more information about the impeachment inquiry right here on Newswatch. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg missed oral arguments today due to an illness. A court spokesperson said Ginsburg has a stomach virus. She's expected to participate in the cases by reviewing briefs and transcripts. Ginsburg was present Tuesday when the court heard arguments about Trump's administration to terminate the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. At 86, she is the oldest justice on the Supreme Court. A 4-time cancer survivor, her health has long been an issue. She's recovered from colon, pancreatic, and lung cancer. Ginsburg leads the liberal wing of the court, which is currently outnumbered by conservatives 5-4. Venice, Italy is under a state of emergency. An elderly man has died in the flooded city, the Venice mayor spokesman confirms. Flooding from an exceptionally high tide, the highest in 50 years, has inundated 45% of Venice, forcing businesses and schools to close. The mayor blames it on climate change. Citizens are being asked to document damage so that they can be compensated, and volunteers are deploying throughout the city to help. A worker has been rescued after spending 2 hours stuck on top of a McDonald's sign this afternoon. Middletown police received a 911 call at shortly after 1 p.m. from the worker's boss. The worker was not on the McDonald's sign itself, but on the platform of a manned lift that was stuck. The worker was between 100 and 135 feet in the air. The rescue featured the fire departments of Middletown, Franklin, and Monroe, as well as the Butler County Emergency Management Agency and the Butler County Tech Rescue Team. According to the boss, the worker is fine. While the vaping crisis continues across the U.S., lawmakers in Washington are putting a microscope on the response to the epidemic. Today, members of the Senate Committee on Health heard from officials with the CDC and the Center for Tobacco Products who are working to figure out what is causing the crisis. Camila Bernal has the details.
As states around the country deal with a vaping epidemic, senators on Capitol Hill trying to get to the root of the problem.
This harms you. This will addict you. This could ultimately kill you.
The Senate Committee on Health Wednesday heard from health administrators whose agencies are currently investigating the issue.
We continue to suggest that people consider refraining from use of all e-cigarettes or vaping products.
So far, it doesn't appear that any one product is to blame, but many cases do seem to be linked with illegal sales. The investigation has also found that THC has been present in most of the samples that the FDA has tested. On Friday, the CDC said vitamin E acetate, an additive sometimes used in THC and other vaping products, may be to blame.
What we cannot say right now is whether there are other substances.
As they figure it out, health officials sounding the alarm on the rise of youth vaping.
Most young people walk around thinking that e-cigarettes are harmless.
But while senators agree on the problem,
it just seems to me we need swift, bold, quick action.
The solution will be harder to find.
We're probably going to end up doing the wrong thing, but if you want less kids to smoke, I'd just increase the penalties on people selling to kids, and you might have less kids smoking.
In Washington, I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
He died a hero. Worcester, Massachusetts Fire Department Lieutenant Jason Menard lost his life helping save members of his crew. As they battled this massive early morning fire Wednesday, when firefighters got there, they were told there might be a woman and a baby trapped on the 3rd floor. But by the time they got up there, the fire had grown even bigger, trapping them. They issued a Mayday call, and Menard answered that call. He helped 2 of his crew make it out, but he never did. He leaves behind his wife and 3 children. 3 firefighters and a woman who lived in the building all got hurt too, and more than 10 people lost their homes. Investigators are still trying to figure out how this fire started. Now, there's no doubt about it, former President Jimmy Carter is a fighter. His family pastor says he's up and walking after brain surgery Tuesday, and even got permission to visit him today. The 95-year-old went to the hospital Monday night for surgery to relieve pressure on his brain. That pressure was caused by bleeding after some recent falls. Carter will stay in the hospital for a little while so doctors can keep an eye on him. But he's a survivor. He made it through both brain cancer and liver cancers. Carter is the oldest living former U.S. president. Winter weather is here earlier than expected. How people are dealing with the near freezing temperatures, that story still ahead.
And while most of the country is dealing with freezing temperatures now, warmer weather is in store. We'll tell you how warm it gets, all coming up in my full forecast. But first, a look at stocks of local interest.
Sama. Sama, I made this film for you. Sama, I need you to understand what we are fighting for.
Art is important because it shows who we were, where we came from.
Through my art, I'm creating a more powerful woman within myself.
Inspiration is everywhere. It's important that we learn our culture, our practices. We are tied to the land. That's our blood. That's where we come from.
Meet Pulitzer Prize-winning Native American master storyteller.
There was a house made of dawn.
N. Scott Momaday.
I am a Kiowa.
His voice had a spiritual connection to the land.
You cannot separate the Native American from the landscape. It is his spirit.
And the land was very old and everlasting.
Join us for Words from a Bear.
I turn into a bear on occasion.
N. Scott Momaday on American Masters.
The Hamptons are at the very east end of Long Island.
We have some of the wealthiest people on the planet.
And right in the middle of that, we have a Native American Indian reservation.
The Southampton Town Board has made massive efforts to protect their colonial sites, but they don't make an effort to help preserve our Native American sacred sites. We have to live here together.
Conscience Point.
Welcome back. I'm forecaster Nicholas Snyder. Well, we're under pretty pretty strong deck of clouds overhead. That's all due to a low pressure that's off to our north. It's being driven by this jet streak right here, this right entrance region of that jet streak. That's where that low pressure is forming. And here it is on our surface map right there, and one right up here as well. We're also being affected by an area of high pressure over the eastern seaboard. That is going to move off to the east, but we are still cold because of that big trough in the upper level jet stream. So we are going to remain cold tonight, unfortunately, and that polar trough will linger as we go throughout the next couple of hours. Here it is again on our jet stream picture, that big dip in the jet stream right there. That's a result of all that cold weather, or that's what's causing all that cold weather that's overhead right now. And again, it's still going to be cold tonight. 23 will be the low, mostly cloudy. Again, still cold. Winds will be out of the south-southeast at 0 to 5 miles an hour. Across the area, temperatures generally in the lower and middle 20s, 23 in Jackson, 23 over in Chillicothe. Here in Athens, again, 23, 27 the warm spot. In Ripley, clouds will be intermittent throughout the night as that low pressure will continue to drive those clouds. Cold front comes in tomorrow. It's a relatively weak cold front because of this high pressure right here, and high pressure will also build in behind that. It's going to make way for a pleasant day tomorrow. It's going to be a lot warmer tomorrow than it was today. 43 will be the high, mostly cloudy, much warmer. Winds will be out of the south-southwest at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Again, clouds will be on and off throughout the day. Some points you'll see nothing but sunshine. Some points you'll see a couple of clouds here or there. Highs across the area tomorrow generally in the lower and middle to maybe some upper 40s. Further south into West Virginia. 46 in Ironton, 46 in Ripley. 39s are the cool spot up in New Lexington. In Newark, again, clouds intermittent just about wherever you go. Cold front passes, high pressure builds in for Friday. And that's going to bring some warmer weather to the area. Fall weather will return over the next couple of days. A slight pattern change is in store, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. These red areas right here in both of our long-range models, these are ridges in the jet stream, slight ridges. It's not going to be extremely above average like we saw at the beginning of October, but still a little bit warmer than we're seeing right now. And you can see it here in our 7-day temperature averages. We warm you close to average by Tuesday when we reach highs in the 50s once again. 10-day air masses, cold air is overhead right now. That cold air will retreat to, on Friday and create warmer weather for the weekend. Next Wednesday is our next cool down, but it will not be nearly as cold as we saw this week. And next Friday, a big warm up is in store. Extended forecast 43 tomorrow, 45 on Friday. Beautiful day. No clouds to even worry about. Saturday 44 with partly cloudy skies. Sunday clear skies with a high of 46. Rain chances come in for the beginning of next week. 30% chance of rain on Tuesday with a high of 52. It's going to be much, much warmer than we saw this week. Wednesday, a high of 47 with a greater rain chance, and snow chances maybe Wednesday night. Taylor?
Thanks, Nicholas. Even Jack Frost is shivering. An Arctic blast is blanketing much of the U.S. with teeth-chattering temperatures. And to the surprise of many, this winter-like weather has arrived earlier than usual. A preview of what's to come. Bitter cold conditions for nearly 3/4 of the U.S. today, with temperatures in some areas 20 to 40 degrees lower than usual for this time of the year. Chicago is among the city feeling the polar plunge in temps.
It's freezing from your feet to your head. Like, are you serious? Like, no matter how much thermal you got on, you still gonna get cold.
Some make the most of the situation, like this Cleveland man who created a spiderweb design in the snow. But this unexpectedly cold weather is causing havoc for travel. Numerous accidents on the roadways, and FlightAware.com reports hundreds of flight delays and cancellations due to weather conditions. The Great Lakes region has already received more than a foot of snow since Monday, and forecasters say more is likely on the way. Coming up after the break, we'll look at how Ohio football season in Athens wrapped up and how Bobcats said goodbye to a big group of seniors. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
We have Native people. We don't fit into the Mexican. We don't fit into the Puerto Rican. We don't fit into the blacks, and we don't fit into the whites, so we're a separate group. That Indian has to walk in two worlds. He's already pressured in society, much as he had war and, its aftermath to it, and he struggles. He really does struggle.
Meet Pulitzer Prize-winning Native American master storyteller
There was a house made of dawn.
N. Scott Momaday.
I am a Kiowa.
His voice had a spiritual connection to the land.
You cannot separate the Native American from the landscape. It is his spirit.
And the land was very old and everlasting.
Join us for Words from a Bear.
I turn into a bear on occasion.
N. Scott Momaday on American Masters.
Sama. Sama, I made this film for you. Sama, I need you to understand what we are fighting for.
Art is important because it shows who we were, where we came from.
Through my art, I'm creating a more powerful woman within myself.
Inspiration is everywhere. It's important that we learn our culture, our practices. We are tied to the land. That's our blood. That's where we come from.
Last night, the Ohio football team played their final game at Peden Stadium this season. Sports director Thomas Garverick has the highlights of Ohio's matchup with the Western Michigan Broncos.
Frustration. It's the only word that head coach Frank Solich could come up with after the game while describing what the 2019 season has been like for his football team. Again, same movie, same exact ending for the Ohio football team here at Peden Stadium. Another heartbreaking loss, this time to the hands of the Western Michigan Broncos, 37-34 at home. And now Ohio sits at 4-6 and faces the reality that they have to win their final 2 games just to be bowl eligible. Senior night for Ohio. Final time fans will see Nathan Rourke at Peden this season. But the first half was a disaster. Late second quarter, DL Knock muffs the punt. Fight for the ball, squirts out late there, but Western recovers. Final seconds of the half, John Wazik finds a wide open Giovanni Ritchie in the corner of the end zone for the score. The Broncos led 10-0 at the break. This poor guy won a few brave Bobcat faithful, hoping for some action from the Cats. And boy, Ohio's offense got going in the second half. Opening drive of the third quarter, Rourke to Ryan Lorman, toe tapping in the end zone. After review, it's called a touchdown, so some life for the Bobcats. Ohio's ensuing possession, all he does is score tutties. Damontre Tuggle breaks loose and only the end zone will contain him. That 10-yard score puts Ohio ahead 14-10, but here comes the Broncos. It's Wazik and Ritchie again. The duo hook up for their second score of the night over the middle of the field. Western up 17-14. To the fourth quarter we go, game tied at 17. Sky Moore had himself a ball game. Moore turns on the Jets, and he's crashing down in the end zone. 61-yard score puts the Broncos back on top 24-17, but Ohio isn't going anywhere. Tuggle again, up the gut and punches her home. Tie game at 24, back and forth we go. It's Moore again. Takes the direct snap, gets to the edge, and he's in. Broncos up 31-24 late fourth quarter. One last drive for Ohio. Can Rourke work some magic? Rourke looks, fires, and drops it into the hands of Tyler Tupa to tie the game with 9 seconds to go. So we head to overtime. But heartbreak strikes again. Levante Bellamy takes the pitch, sets his sights on the end zone, and he would not be denied. Western walks off in Athens, 37-34.
Thanks, Thomas. For more coverage of the game, head to woub.org/sports. Today is World Kindness Day. An organization is called the World Kindness Movement, started this day in 1998. 28 countries now mark November 13th with acts of kindness. A campaign to wear cardigans for this year's day has spread on social media. A Pittsburgh broadcasting station wants people to channel the spirit of Mr. Rogers. Social media users are urging people to use the hashtag World Kindness Day to show off the good deeds in cardigans. Kindness UK also listed a few things you can do to spread kindness. They include doing a good deed, giving someone a compliment, holding the door for someone, and volunteering. Now let's head over to Nicholas for a final look at the weather.
Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and much warmer than it was today. Winds will be out of the south-southwest at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Across the area, temperatures will generally be in the upper 30s and lower 40s. 39 in New Lexington, 39 in Newark, 40 in Columbus, 43 in Chillicothe, 43 in Jackson, 46 in Ironton, 46 in Ripley. Those are the warm spots. 43 in Marietta, 42 in New Martinsville, and 40 in Cambridge, all under mainly cloudy to partly cloudy skies. Again, clouds will be intermittent throughout the day. Extended forecast 45 on Friday, 44 on Saturday with partly cloudy skies. Sunday, a beautiful day, 46, mainly sunny. Monday, partly cloudy skies with a high of 48. And here comes the rain on Tuesday and Wednesday. 30% chance of rain on Tuesday with 52 and 40% on Wednesday with a high of 47. Taylor?
Thank you, Nicholas. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thank you for watching. I'm Taylor Bruck. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at woub.org. Have a great night.
Support comes from the Hocking Hills Tourism Association, showcasing the serenity of Ohio's Hocking Hills in winter with waterfalls frozen in suspended animation, ice beards covering cave walls, and cabins and lodges.